Welcome one and all, and thank you for being with us tonight. My name is Gretchen Givens-Jennerat. I am a Contemporary Craft board member, and along with my husband Bill, am serving as event chair for the 50th anniversary Kickoff celebration this evening. I want to start by saying how proud I am to be involved with Contemporary Craft during such an exciting time for the organization. A vibrant new community, a beautiful new home, and 50 years of artistic excellence make this organization truly one of a kind. And the best is yet to come. Of course, the challenges of this past year have caused untold hardship for our entire community. So before we begin our celebration tonight, I want to take a moment and recognize that simple fact. I rejoined the Contemporary Craft Board in 2020 because I know that the organization's work goes far beyond presenting art exhibitions and teaching classes. Contemporary Craft's work to promote equity, justice, and opportunity makes our community stronger and its people healthier and happier. Now as we begin our recovery, not just from the harm of the virus, but social injustices that have ailed our nation far too long, Contemporary Craft's work is needed more greatly than ever, and that work relies on you. Your support is the lifeblood of this organization and the reason we are celebrating tonight. Although we are not together this evening, we are united. Thank you for being with us and for your support of Contemporary Craft. Now, I would be remiss in my duties as event chair without kicking off our celebration with a toast, and I'm doubly honored to raise a salute for a woman who needs no introduction. Janet Mccall arrived at Contemporary Craft in 1995 when the organization had a staff of just 4 and an operating budget below $300,000. Under her leadership, Contemporary Craft has grown and flourished, launching the Raphael Prize Series as well as the Social Justice Exhibition Series and receiving the American Craft Council Award of Distinction in 2018. Janet's most significant accomplishment, though, has been leading Contemporary Craft's transformational move to its beautiful, fully funded, permanent home. In just a few short months, Janet will set on a new course, a life after Contemporary Craft. I know that you will join me in raising a toast for her continued good health and good fortune in all her personal and artistic endeavors. To Janet, who has been our visionary, our North Star, and our devoted leader. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you Janet Mccall.
Thank you, Gretchen. Contemporary Craft has been my life's work, and one of the greatest pleasures of this job has been working with dedicated and passionate board members like you who keep this amazing organization on the path to greatness. It's been my privilege to head up such a unique arts organization, one that I've had the honor of serving for nearly half of its 50-year history. When you're fortunate enough to find a job where you can put your skills and professional experience in service of your great passion, as I have been, you are lucky indeed. I've loved working with so many talented staff, board members, and artists on shared goals of building community and offering high-quality art experiences free to all. Contemporary Craft is poised for a bright future and ready for a new leader to take it forward. And I can't wait to see what the next chapter will be. I want to welcome everyone to this special event that officially kicks off our 50th anniversary season. Our annual auction always provides a chance to purchase high-quality works of art by top artists in the field. And this year's auction, with its focus exclusively on former Raphael Prize winners, is even more special. Personally, I own 2 pieces by past winners, Jim Rose and Linda Swanson, that I acquired from past auctions, and they are among the most treasured pieces in my home. We're delighted to have friends and donors, artists and champions from near and far with us this evening to help celebrate. And tonight's program is going to be fun and informational, fast-paced and reflective. And most of all, it's truly just the beginning of a year of ambitious programming that we want to share with you, and more about that later. In a moment, you'll meet our MC for this evening's event, Tracy Serto. But first, I want to show a short video for any of you who have not yet had the opportunity to visit Contemporary Craft's new home. Enjoy.
Welcome to Where Art Comes to Life, the new permanent home of Contemporary Craft in Lawrenceville, one of Pittsburgh's most creative neighborhoods. This former industrial building has been transformed into a vibrant center for art and creativity from the outside in. Braddock Steel, an exterior mural by acclaimed street artist Swoon, is a nod to Pittsburgh's industrial past. The facade features decorative brickwork, a vivid color palette, and a striking aluminum sculpture above the entrance. Every aspect of the facade draws attention to our new home as a welcoming center for all. The art that we show is always changing, evolving, innovating, and looking forward. It's relevant, thought-provoking, and responding to what's happening in the world, particularly exhibitions that create a socially engaged experience between artist and viewer. The spacious gallery features abundant natural light and adjustable lighting. 14-foot ceilings can accommodate large installations, as seen in this piece from our inaugural solo exhibition, The Heart Lives Through the Hands, by the spectacular artist Swoon. We pack and ship many of our exhibitions to venues across the country, reaching audiences far beyond Pittsburgh. Throughout the facility, we feature artwork and finished spaces that focus on material and high-quality craft. Artist-made furniture and fixtures create comfortable and creative spaces for inspiration and contemplation. We provide vital support for artists through exhibitions, sales, teaching opportunities, and professional development. In our retail store, visitors can find one-of-a-kind pieces by national and regional artists working at the cutting edge of contemporary craft art today. We feature established as well as emerging artists who work across the craft media of glass, wood, ceramic, mixed media, metal, and fiber. Our state-of-the-art maker studios are prominently located so that visitors can watch artists working or workshops taking place from inside and outside the building. Natural light streams into the large metals and fiber studios, and a movable wall between the wood studio and the fiber studio opens for larger programs. A ceiling-mounted overhead projector and screen allow for virtual classes. As you can see, our building was purpose-built to provide a foundation for us to step up to the next level as we pursue our goals for advancing our internationally renowned exhibitions, enhancing our craft education program, and engaging our local community through creative experiences that empower, uplift, and enrich. With this transformational move, contemporary craft is growing into something fresh, unexpected, and even more impactful, carried forward by our knowledge that the arts play an important role as a resource for well-being, hope, and resilience. Admission to contemporary craft is always free, so come visit for your creative experience.
Welcome, friends. My name is Tracy Serto, and it is my great pleasure to act as your guide to tonight's online event. Together, we'll be taking a journey that not only peers back over an incredible 50-year history of contemporary craft, but also gazes forward to the organization's exciting next chapter in its new home in Upper Lawrenceville. For those of you who may recognize me as the founder of Next Pittsburgh, you know that my passion has been to shine a light on the wonderful city that we share, and the innovators, tastemakers, and movers and shakers who help make Pittsburgh such a vibrant place to live. That same passion is why I have enjoyed serving on Contemporary Craft's board of directors for the past 6 years. Contemporary craft shines a different kind of light, and one that reaches far outside of Pittsburgh through its impact as a national leader in the field of craft. One of the ways that contemporary craft recognizes excellence in its own field is through the Elizabeth R. Raphael Founders Prize. The prize was established in 1997 as a celebration of contemporary craft's 25th anniversary. 25 years later, this major international juried prize and accompanying transformation exhibition is one of the most important of its kind anywhere. For the artists featured in the subsequent 10 exhibitions featuring work in metal, glass, wood, ceramic, and found materials, the Raphael Prize represents a coveted accolade that signals to the craft world, I am here. Tonight, we will be visiting with 6 members of that elite Raphael Prize Club, all of whom and more have generously donated their work to be featured in our 50th anniversary auction. On behalf of Contemporary Craft, I want to thank these artists for their exceptional generosity and encourage you all to visit our online auction site right now to view and bid on the pieces that they have offered for the auction. A little later, we'll also take a sneak peek at Contemporary Craft's brand new exhibition, Searching for Home, and hear from featured artist Jumeida Abid. We're kicking off tonight's presentation and look back at the Raphael Prize with Ron Layport, a preeminent contemporary craft artist in wood and living link to our founder, Betty Raphael. Please welcome Ron Layport.
Thanks, Tracy. Good to be with you all this evening, celebrating 50 years of a great idea. I'm Ron Layport, and I'd like to take a minute to look back at my long history with these amazing folks, with this amazing organization. I first had the pleasure of meeting Betty Raphael back in the mid-1970s while I was immersed in a 40-year advertising career. She called upon me to design and produce promotional literature for an idea she was passionate about, presenting fine contemporary craft as art and presenting it in a gallery setting. That idea was way ahead of its time. That friendship that began in the store in Verona would sow the seeds for the work I do today. 2 decades later, I met Kate Lydon when I went seeking feedback on the work I was making on the lathe, hoping to transition from the ad world to the art world. And by then, Betty's idea had become Society for Contemporary Craft and had moved from Verona to the Strip District. Kate has graciously offered her support and counsel ever since. We've become friends. So you see, inclusion in the Transformation 7, the Elizabeth Raphael Founders Award, was truly meaningful for me. I think Betty would have gotten a kick out of that one too. Around the same time, Kate gave me a one-person show at the Mellon Center Gallery. That had far-reaching exposure. From that show, we received an order to cast a limited edition bronze for a collector in New Zealand, Verona to Smallman Street to New Zealand. I'd say that's far-reaching, which brings us tonight to Lawrenceville. The piece I'm offering in tonight's auction was made specifically for that Mellon Center exhibition. It was later shown by the Racine Art Museum, and finally, I decided to hold it back for my own collection. The work is titled River Relic, and it's made from ash wood and burnished with pigments. Seems appropriate to bring it out for tonight's auction, back to where it began, in recognition of Contemporary Craft's milestone, 50th anniversary. A quick Kate story. I called Kate one day. Kate, I just had a call from the Smithsonian wanting to bring 25 of their docents and guests, 50 people, to visit my studio on their trip to Pittsburgh. You've been in my house. 15 people max, and one has to stand in the doorway. I hate to miss the opportunity. Would you be? Yes, of course, we'd be happy to host it, she replied. 3 weeks later, I'm in the Smallman Street Gallery. Kate had set and lit pedestals to show some of my work. 50 people seated in lecture format, and I'm making a presentation in front of a big screen with Kate running the program on the computer. On a Saturday morning, no less. And she'd made lunch arrangements for them at a restaurant after the reception. Now that's dedication to a mission. That's contemporary craft.
Thank you for sharing that memory with us, Ron, and what a wonderful piece that is. We're going to jump forward from the origins of contemporary craft in the store now all the way to our most recent exhibition, Transformation 10, in 2017. Melissa Cameron was the Raphael Prize winner in Found Materials and an artist who exemplifies contemporary craft's emphasis not only on innovative use of materials, but also our commitment to addressing important social issues through the art that we exhibit. I am delighted to welcome, all the way from Perth, Australia, Melissa Cameron.
Hi, I'm Melissa Cameron. I was exhibited as a part of Transformations 8 in 2011 for the Raphael Prize, and then in 2017 for Transformations 10 I was the overall prize winner. I also have a long connection with contemporary craft in that I was also exhibited in a bridge exhibition in 2012, shortly after I moved to the United States. As you can tell from the accent, I am not originally from the USA and I no longer live there. I currently have my studio and my house in Perth in Western Australia. I became aware of contemporary craft in 2011, actually before moving to the USA, and that first transformation exhibition, I was not planning to be able to see the show, but we moved to the US in early 2012, and that's when I got to see the show, and I first got to experience contemporary crafts, huge and wonderful exhibition space. It was also sort of about the time I started making more socially conscious work. So it was interesting that my practice grew alongside my association with contemporary craft. When I left Australia, I had sort of just started dabbling in more narrative pieces and pieces that were protesting against different things or commemorating specific feminist issues. And so being with contemporary craft has always been a really great fit for me, because I've always been, since about 2011, been exploring a more socially conscious side of practice, which they encourage and exhibit particularly well there. It's something I've always appreciated about them. My work is still political. The last large piece that was exhibited there was obviously centred on gun violence in the United States. These days, my work has sort of shifted focus a bit back to Australian contemporary issues. So there's still, I suppose, universal problems, things about First Nations rights and empathy in how we treat and respect other cultures within our own diaspora. So it's always been great that there's been a good home for this type of work in Pittsburgh, that you know that you can go and see some really interesting and thought-provoking artworks. I have a piece that's currently in the auction. It's from a pretty big year for me. It was 2016, and other works from that year have ended up in collections of the University of Iowa Museum of Art, as well as the Tacoma Art Museum in Washington State, where I used to live. That was a large piece that was dedicated to a local Seattleite, so it sort of seems appropriate it has a home there. I guess I'm still making ostensibly wearable work. I'll show you a quick tour around the studio, but there's work on my bench at the moment that is about the recent destruction of Indigenous land sites in northwest of Western Australia that had traditionally been owned by the Putu Kunti, Kurama and Pinikura peoples of the northwest of Western Australia. So I'm still protesting, and I'm hoping that I still have a friend in contemporary craft. In fact, I'm sure that I am. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak, and I hope you're all having a great night. It's probably about 4 a.m. my time, so I would cheers you, but I'll be asleep. Talk to you all soon. Thanks. So we're in my studio. This is what I'm working on at the moment. It's actually a drawing that I've done of the tallest building in Perth that I can also see from my house. And over here is the beginnings of the tower. And then all of these small pieces that I'm cutting out are teardrop shapes. This building belongs to a mining company that made international news last year when they blasted the Jukan shelters in the northwest of Western Australia, which is where I live. So this is 4,600 tears in progress. This is a couple of thousand here in 100 tier strands. They're about 1.8 meters tall. And we're inside of my studio, obviously. And the tiers, there'll be 4,600, which will be 10% of the amount of time that it was supposed to have been, or has been proven to have been inhabited by the Indigenous peoples, the Kunti Kurrama and Pinikura peoples in northwest of Western Australia. So that's what's going on in the studio at the moment.
Thanks, Melissa. Cheers, and thanks for the important work that you do. Melissa has donated a beautiful duo of items for the auction this year, one of which I happen to be wearing at this very moment. You can visit the online auction now if you'd like to place a bid on these exceptional pieces of wearable art. I think it's a good time in our program to change gears a bit and talk about what's coming up at Contemporary Craft. Hopefully some of you had the chance to preview our newest exhibition either last night or earlier today. Searching for Home, a solo exhibition by Jumeida Abid, blends sculpture and wood with the discipline of traditional Mccall miniature painting. The beauty and mastery of Abid's two-scale carvings of seemingly benign objects, ripe with subtext, belie the violence, cruelty, upheaval, and instability in society, especially that to which women are subject. The works in Searching for Home demonstrate the artist's ability to tread a narrow line between evocative and often provocative content and mastery in a material discipline. For a closer look at the exhibition, I am pleased to introduce Jumeida Abid.
Hello, my name is Humera Abed. I'm a visual artist originally from Pakistan and based in Seattle. I'm in Pittsburgh at Contemporary Craft with my show Searching for Home. As you can see, we are installing the show at this time. It's going to open on April 9th, Friday. This show is mainly about challenges and stories of refugees and immigrants. Since this was first premiered at Bellevue Arts Museum and the video I'm going to show you was shot there, since then the issue has actually spread and increased to different countries and parts of the world. So I feel the need to add new stories. This show is even bigger. Earlier there were 7 installations, now there are 10. So the video will tell you my background and process. I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
I feel what is personal is also universal. So when you go through certain things, it changes your perspective. And you have 2 choices, either to sit and let that happen or stand up and do something about it. I decide to stand up and I decide to talk about these issues. My current exhibit at Bellevue Arts Museum, Searching for Home, started in my mind many years ago. I grew up hearing about stories of migration. My parents moved from India to Pakistan. So I saw a lot of refugees and what they were going through. And I moved to US about 10 years ago, although it was out of choice, but there were many things that I could relate to. Like when I moved here, after a few years, I started feeling like this was my home. But every time I went back to Pakistan to visit my family, people here would say, "Oh, you are going back home." So for them, my home was always where I was born, in Pakistan. And this started a dialogue in my mind. Where is home? The idea of home. That kind of triggers this concept, which came together in the form of this exhibition. Growing up in Pakistan, I was lucky. I grew up in a family which was comparatively more open-minded, but still I felt there were a lot of issues which were part of the society. Everything that women wanted to do, often they had to get permission from the male member of the house. So in Pakistan, when kids are good in studies, they are expected to be either doctors or engineers. My family wanted me to become a doctor, and this was not something which came out of my heart. And art was something in which I did not have any boundaries. That was something I wanted to pursue. Initially, my family did not support me. They were against me taking it as a profession. So I went to art school. I got admission in a very prestigious college, and I got scholarship all 4 years. I ended up graduating with honors. And then the time came when pretty quickly my family came around. I particularly remember one day my father said in front of the whole family that he's very proud of me, and it was the right decision. It's one of the best moments in my life. My process involves most of the time thinking about an idea when I have a concept. I call myself conceptual artist, so I work around the ideas and concepts that I have. Once I have an idea, if my reference that I need is an everyday object, I go find that object. I go to secondhand shops a lot. When I see a form or an object that I feel will complement my idea, I will buy it. Secondhand shops are a perfect place to look for different variety and unique shapes. Some of the shoes in the installation at Balvi Arts Museum I picked here. I look for these designs and textures. A lot of my work is about everyday and common objects. I want to use a form which is used. When I bring it to my studio, I often stage it. I start thinking about an appropriate medium, appropriate wood, and the technique, how am I going to do it? And then I start working on it. I felt wood was a medium which was clearly male-dominated medium. There was a lack of woman's voice in it. And I wanted to bring woman's voice in that medium. So I moved to US about 10 years ago, and then I went through multiple miscarriages. And when I was going through miscarriages, I did not know what to do about it, because whenever I tried to talk to someone or even my friends, they were closed about it. They did not want to share it openly. I felt the need to bring it through my work. And I did a whole series, my Red Show. There were women who came to the show and started crying. They became very emotional. When even I feel that if I'm able to encourage someone to open up, realize that as an issue, or even just start a discussion, I'm successful. And that's exactly what I want to do with my life. This is my goal, this is my passion, and this is what I want to do. I think all the challenges that I have faced in my life have made me a better person. And if I get a choice to go back in time and do it all over again, I will do it all over again the same way.
Searching for Home will be on view at Contemporary Craft through August 21st. We hope that you'll come back and see this powerful show again and again. Now let's take a few moments to recognize our generous donors and sponsors to this year's event, beginning with our lead sponsor, Gentrico Construction, to whom we owe a debt of gratitude for building Contemporary Craft's new home in Lawrenceville. Take a look.
We were very excited to be chosen as the contractor for Contemporary Crafts' Butler Street location, and we thank you for trusting us to build your new home where art comes to life. Congratulations on your 50th anniversary.
At Gendoco, we believe that the design and construction process should be collaborative, creative, and fun, and it should have a net positive impact on people, nature, and communities. With Contemporary Craft, we found tremendous alignment around mission and our unique approach to collaborative project delivery that enabled us to maximize the creative experience and community impact through the integration of art and sustainability into the project.
Thanks again for all your support to all of our major donors and sponsors to this year's event. We also want to take a moment for thanking our sponsors of the patron picnic boxes that were put together for VIP guests of tonight's event. You'll find more information on our sponsors and trusted vendors in your picnic boxes. Let's go now to Deep Gap, North Carolina, to check in with one of our early Raphael Prize winners, David Sengel, who won the prize for wood in 1999.
My name is David Sengel. Since entering the Contemporary Crafts Transformation Competition 22 years ago, I have happily followed and supported this organization by donating work to its fundraisers and congratulate them on this, their 50th anniversary birthday party. While you are here, I strongly recommend that you take in the brilliant solo show by artist Jumeida Abid. If I had to pick a favorite genre of object making, it would most always be folk art. Although mostly a worker of wood for my nearly 50 years of creating, the material and design of industrial discards has always interested me and found a way into what I do. My personal scrapyard is ever expanding, to the dismay of some around here who sometimes refer to it as junk. And visits to metal recycling yards are part of what keeps me happy. That and keeping up with the small organic farm, playing a bit of music with friends, and being around grandkids growing up, what more could one ask for? I began my adult life as a piano technician, tuning, repairing, and rebuilding instruments, helped develop skills in manipulating materials. And since I gave up that trade for a more independent lifestyle, I have been fortunate to be able to sustain myself through the creative process. The piece I made for this auction I call the Whole Note Street Choir. It is actually somewhat a representation of much of my personal and professional life. I never did learn how to sing and still painfully recall being the only male voice in a theory class as an exchange student at a women's college. I had a close, friendly relationship with the local choir, however, for many years, and they are one of the most musically creative groups I have ever run into. This piece is mostly metal, some found, some worked by me, and various woods for most of the birds. 5 of the birds have strong magnetic bases, and thus the choir may be rearranged. Should you ever happen to be near Deep Gap, North Carolina, I invite you to stop for a studio visit at our place called Fog Likely Farm. Cheers and happy bidding.
That's great. A standing invitation to Fog Likely Farm and a whimsical folk art inspired piece from our friend David Sengel for any interested bidders out there. We're going south to north as we meet our next Raphael Prize artist tonight, coming to us from the Hudson River Valley, New York. Talia Baharel, who was not only a finalist for the 2001 prize in metals, but spent a summer with Contemporary Craft as an artist in residence. Talia?
Hi, Tracy. Thank you very much for introducing me, and I am really delighted to be a part of this auction and be able to donate one of my favorite pieces and one of the last ones I did in this collection that was very much inspired by my time in Pittsburgh. So I'm happy for this full circle that seems to be kind of coming together here. So essentially I met, quote unquote, Society for Contemporary Craft, as it used to be called in those days, a long time ago. I think it was basically sometime in the 90s. And my husband and I were making studio jewelry that we put in the store for a number of years. So that's how this relationship began. And I actually started to make some sculpture with steel wire and paper. And it was the subject matter of jewelry, but done in a sculptural form. And I showed that work to Kate. And at that point, she sent me an application to the Raphael Prize. And one of my jewelry objects, called Witness, in fact, made it as one of the finalists for that prize. And that body of work sort of led to us discussing the idea of me doing a project, Big Steel, Little Steel. And I came to Pittsburgh 2005 and spent a month, and it was January. That project was all about collecting remnants of steel with the community and then incorporating them into sculptures that I was making during that month. And that resulted in a show at the Mellon Center of the work that I did then. But while I was there doing all that collecting and doing all the looking down at the ground, I fell in love not only with all the textures and rust stains and salt stains along the pavements, but I also fell in love with a particular manhole on 21st and Smallman. It was diagonally across. And there was something about that manhole that spoke to me. And I came back home, and all the manhole and its composition and all the rust stains and textures haunted me. And I decided to figure out how to bring them into this body of jewelry. So I started messing around with iron filings and steel wire and sterling silver. And through the combination of all those materials and heat and some chemical patina and heat patina and the materials interacting with each other, the body of work, Urban Landscape and Residue, was born. One of which, and one of the last pieces I made, is the one that I believe Residue number 25, that is up for auction. And it sort of is a window into the past, into the connection with SCC and Pittsburgh, and into the jewelry that I did that now has led to a new direction. So this 1 month gave me, 1 month in January of 2005, gave me not only the sense of validation by being offered that and the time that it offered me, but also the ability to reflect on what I did there and then come home and use that inspiration to develop something new. And that's such a precious, precious thing to get as an artist, time. So now it comes kind of full circle, because we moved to Maine in 2012. And there I met a painter and a teacher by the name of Steve Imony. And I was wearing one of these urban landscape pieces. And he took a look at that, and then he saw some more work from that collection. And he said, you know, Talia, you're a painter. And that now I see again how cross-pollination moves from one medium to another. All those issues of residue, of stains, of the composition of wire, and urban landscape are showing up now in my paintings. For me, good craft is art. That's number one. And it's the hand, it's always the hand that is the most remarkable part of craft. And in painting, you see, I don't see any difference between my brooches and my paintings. To me, they are equal in terms of their placement in art. So I'm delighted, to be a part of this, because I care so much about my relationship with SEC and with what I feel they've contributed to my voice as an artist.
Thank you, Talia, for sharing a bit about your artistic journey with us. Contemporary Craft is proud to be a springboard for many emerging and established artists to find their artistic voice, hone their craft, and support themselves by providing a marketplace for their artistic product. And that's where you come in. Contemporary Craft supports artists by connecting them with collectors and patrons of the arts who admire and acquire one-of-a-kind pieces of craft art. We asked friends of Contemporary Craft, David Blair and Marianne Blair, to share a story about some pieces that have come into their collection through their long friendship with the organization. Here's what they said.
Hi, my name's David Blair.
And I'm Marianne Blair.
And we've been supporters of Contemporary Craft since the 1990s. We're here today to showcase a piece of furniture that we purchased from Raphael Prize winner Jim Rose. It's this cabinet sitting here in our sunroom. It's one of 3 pieces of furniture that we've purchased from Jim over the years, in addition to several tabletop pieces that he's made.
This piece actually was a surprise to me. Dave had purchased it. Kate Leiden and the staff moved it in here over the holidays when I was out of the house, and I came home to see this piece and how beautifully it went with the stonework in this glass room.
One of the things that we love about Jim's work is that it's made from found metal, recycled metal. Jim's art is about repurposing the old and creating something new. And we love the old look. It's built somewhat on shaker designs with metal rather than wood. You've got a quilted look as he puts the colored pieces of metal together. And it just works on so many different levels. We believe that it's one of those things that's going to be in our family for a long time. We're pleased to have his work in our collection.
Another Raphael Prize winner is about to come up next, and that's Megan Patrice Riley. Megan, as you can see, I'm wearing your necklace. This necklace is so well traveled. I just so appreciate it because it folds up to nothing. It's so light, and I look forward to post-COVID giving you a big hug, and for everybody else out there, stay well.
Hi, I'm NPR, Megan Patrice Riley, and welcome to my studio in Brooklyn, New York. A huge shout out and thank you to Society for Contemporary Craft. I'm a Raphael Founder Prize winner, and it was a huge coup for me and confidence booster at the beginning of my career. It's what helped me to found this studio here in Brooklyn, New York, which is my atelier. And it's my pleasure and honor to be here and to donate this amazing new piece I just did. It's a little bit different than my other work, but it's what came out of COVID a bit. And it's like, I titled it Light So Bright, based on light brights and childhood and comfort and the feel of protection and gravity blankets. It feels really nice. So thank you so much. Shout out to Marianne and David for being huge supporters of my work. And thank you for lighting craft up in people's worlds. We need this, especially now. This is huge joy for people. Art is everywhere, and we use it. We need it. Thank you so much. Again, to Society of Contemporary Craft. Wish we could all see each other in person. Until we can do that, till next time. Metal is the basis for everything I do. It's the main structure of everything I do. I may add other materials, maybe fiber or other textile things, but it still is the basis for all of my pieces. What I think is interesting is the 2D to 3D aspect of the pieces, where I start with very 2D, and then I create it in 3D, but then when you wear it on the body, it's 2D again, and that play on the body, I think, has a transformation. And looking at it in the case or on the wall, you have one visual reaction to it, but then once you wear it, it changes the piece quite a bit. And it's all done with a bunch of interlocking Mobius strips, interwoven. Has this counterclockwise movement where it's moving in this arrow here, and it's light, to this arrow pointing this way, but it's small, and it gets gradually bigger, and it has this, what I called like a crescendo at the bottom of these interlocking Mobius strips. What's great is it's really light, and it has this very 3D tactile form, and when you put it on, it just forms to your body. It has that feeling of moving from 2D to 3D, especially as you move. You know, it typically starts with a sketch. I do a lot of line drawings, and I think about like how the silhouette's going to be. I'm thinking about it on the body. Do I want something that's going to be drapey and long, or do I want it tight on the neck, or do I want it to nestle on your wrist? Or I'm thinking about that first. So I start there, and I kind of get an idea of the size I want, and the way the silhouette's going to be. And then I start making. I definitely put myself on a fashion schedule where I push myself to create a collection every 6 months, and that's my production work. And what is born out of that is my fine artwork reflects that as well, I think. My production work informs my fine artwork, and my fine artwork definitely informs what I'm doing in production. You know, when I first started, I was doing a fine jewelry with sterling silver and 18 karat gold. But if you look at those pieces, I see a lot of what I'm doing now in them.
Thanks to David, Marianne, and Megan for joining us for our kickoff celebration. For those of you playing along at home, this is my third and final costume change for the evening. I just love this piece by Talia, but this piece is up for grabs during tonight's event, which will close in just about an hour. If you want to see all the items from our presenting artist tonight, please go to cc50.givesmart.com. That's cc50.givesmart.com. We have just one more artist to hear from this evening before I invite Janet back to share some exciting news about what's ahead for contemporary craft. We're going now to Ashland, Oregon, to hear from the 2009 Raphael Prize winner in wood, Christian Burchard.
Hello, my name is Christian Burchard. I live in Ashland, Oregon. And in 2009, I was a finalist for Transformation and received the Raphael Award. And at that time, I was in Pittsburgh. I gave a lecture, I had an exhibition. And very much appreciate what the society does. And craft for me is a lifestyle, and so any organization that helps bring that kind of work that we do to the public, work done with hands, which to me, my hands are my most important tool. And I think my work is very closely connected to that, as these pieces that I want to show you here I've done very, very immediate with just a few tools and basically just with the senses of my hands. So this piece is a donation to the auction. It's called Baskets, and it's made out of 11 small turnings that are all independent from each other, all have a different way of sitting. And being a sculptor, wood turner, furniture maker, who used to always work with dry wood, after many, many years of that, I started working with wood when it's fresh, straight from the tree. In this case, this is madrone burl from the West Coast, and it's cut green and it's turned green. And as it dries, it will change its shape. So a piece like this would have been very even, very thin as it comes off the lathe, and then dried slowly, and it takes on this shape, and it gets these very beautiful undulations on the surface. Tool marks are there. This is not highly polished work. And so then these pieces I group them together, and there's a lot of movement here, and I like the way they relate to each other, they sit with each other. And what I hear from what people like about them is their tactile quality. And so I hope you like this piece like that and can help with the auction. And this is my contribution to support the society. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. That's beautiful work that I know many in our audience would love to have in their collection. Tonight, we've heard from a number of well-known artists in the field of craft. Collectively, their work can be found in museums around the globe, including the Carnegie Museum of Art, Museum für Angewandte Kunst, Smithsonian American Art Museum, Philadelphia Museum of Art, Montreal Museum of Decorative Arts, Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, Cooper Hewitt Museum in New York, National Gallery of Australia, and Jeongju City Collection in South Korea, as well as the Renwick Gallery of the Smithsonian, and the list goes on. But in many cases, contemporary craft was the first major institution to showcase these artists in a significant way. The Raphael Founders Prize series of exhibitions has played a really valuable role in advancing the field of contemporary craft by featuring innovative artists and creating a gold standard for new generations of aspiring artists to live up to. And that's why we've made it a priority in our new 5-year strategic plan to continue the Raphael Prize as a prominent feature within our artistic program. In the coming months, we will be announcing the dates and theme for the next Raphael Prize exhibition, so stay tuned. We will keep you posted. Between now and then, we have an exciting array of exhibitions, classes, visiting artist workshops, and of course, events in the store to look forward to. And I hope that you'll remain involved and supportive of this wonderful organization as we prepare to welcome an inspiring new leader. Thank you so much.
As our event draws to a close, I want to make a final call for our online auction, which will be closing in just a few minutes. We thank all the artists we heard from tonight, and even more who could not be with us. Your generous donation of work will help Contemporary Craft to remain open and offer free experiences with art that uplift, inspire, and engage our community. And for our patrons and donors at home, your support of the silent auction ensures that we can reach the next generation of craft artists, makers, or anyone who comes through our doors. Thank you all for supporting Contemporary Craft. We hope to see you soon at our new home in Lawrenceville. Have a wonderful evening.